Check, check. Sound good? Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Sure. Got a soft spot for Wawa coffee, personally. Well, big lock loom.
Right.
Adds up. All those rules were made. Probably didn't affect the virtual aspect, so. Is that fair? What do they do if they have to say it now? But I'm hip. Who does that historically? Norman Davis. Right? Shalom. On the book. I might not do it for a minute. Cool. Brad, I know one time I did before. Am I playing this melody at the beginning, or you want me to do that? Like, cool. All right. 'Cause I think we did once, and then we did one. That's right. This is the one. This is.
Yay yada day yada day day day. Yay yada day day day. Yay yada day yada day day day. Yay day 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 day. Hine ma tovu manayim shever achim gam yachad. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבר אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבר אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבר אחים גם יחד. Yay yada day yada day day day. Yay yada day day day. Yay yada day yada day day day. Day 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 day.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbos.
On behalf of Cantor Hyman and Rabbi Friedman and our president Hank Bernstein, welcome into this sacred space of the sanctuary in person, and welcome into this sacred space of the live stream all together for this snowy Shabbat. A reminder for anyone who hasn't yet seen it online, tomorrow morning we're encouraging everyone to stay home because of the forecast, and so we're going to offer Torah study on Zoom only, and we're not going to ask anyone to come into the building, so we'll include a mourner's Kaddish at the conclusion of Torah study. All right, let's take this a moment to be sure we are among community. For the intimate crowd on this snowy Shabbat, you are expected to learn every single person's name, and please introduce yourself in the comments. To kindle our Shabbat lights, we invite Susan Bear, page 2.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת.
We continue with our Shabbat Kiddush on page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. לחיים.
L'chaim. You may have noticed that we are without our Ner Tamid, right? Without our eternal light. Had you noticed it was missing? I'll tell you, our Berkman Merkaz Limud, our religious school students, sure noticed on Sunday that it's missing. It's just under repair, but not to worry. God's presence is still with us, I am certain. It's not that God's presence is the light, right? It's just a symbol. I say just a symbol. It's not just. Our whole religion is built on symbols. Symbols are really important, and yet, it's just a symbol. And so, this Shabbat, let us take it upon ourselves to bring signs of God's presence into our holy time of Shabbat. And I will have faith, as I know you will too, that we will feel God's presence as much as always. We continue with our Kabbalat Shabbat singing on page 12, and to bring more energy, please rise if you're able.
לכו נרננה, יאי לי 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 לי, לאדוני, לי 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 לי, נריע, לי 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 לי, לצור ישענו, לי 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 לי. Let us sing unto God, maker of all, sure and strong. Let all of creation, from mountain to sea, hear our song. Nechu neranena, lai 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 lai, l'Adonai, lai 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 lai, Naria, lai 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 lai. wonder in all of God's light. We rejoice. So now let us listen with all of our hearts to hear God's voice. Lechu neranena, lai 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 lai, l'Adonai, lai 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 lai, Nahariah, lai 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 lai, Netzur Yish'enu, lai 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 lai, lai 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 lai, lai 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 lai.
Feeling the increase of God's presence, the increase of Shabbat, we now are prepared to welcome the Shabbat bride with Lecha Dodi, pages 20 and 21.
Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה בשבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בשבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשמו תפארת ולתחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בשבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בשבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בשבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בשבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך ומאורי. אורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בשבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בשבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עצרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בשבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בשבת נקבלה.
Turning to page 28, we continue with our call to worship.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Do you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam va'ed. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la.
Turning to the middle of page 147, we join together. Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures. Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim, page 32.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadta. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu uvekomeinu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach v'divrei toratecha uv'mitzvotecha le'olam. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadta. When we lie down and when we rise up, this joy will last forever. When we lie down and when we rise up, this joy will last forever, forever. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadta. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. לעד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
Please be seated, page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אמת.
Page 41. Together, sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה נורא תהילות אוסף מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגלו מיד חזק, חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך באלים אדוני.
Page 42.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ושמור את צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום ביתה ביד עולם. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים.
Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. We continue with the tefillah on page 46 and following. Please rise.
Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Baruch ata Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot Ve'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer, U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch ata Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Ata gibor leolam Adonai, mechaye hakol, ata rav lehoshia, mashiv haruach umorid hagashem. Mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim verofech cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, lishenei afar, michamocha baal gevurot, Umito melach, melech memit, umchaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman ata lahachayot hakol, Baruch ata Adonai mechaye hakol. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehalelucha sela. Baruch ata Adonai ha'il hakadosh.
Please be seated. Turning to page 61, let us join together in our blessing for peace. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamvarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We take these moments for silent prayer.
עושה שלום במרומיו, ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
In announcing his retirement from football, right guard Brandon Brooks reflected on his experience of anxiety and what it meant to him to share support with another player. He had my back through the ups and downs, Brooks said. I wanted to have his when he had his struggles. Brooks shared the difficult decision to go public with his mental health challenges and demonstrated he knows the power of destigmatization. He said, I just wanted to get my truth out there because I understand people go through it. If such openness turns out to be Brooks's greatest impact, well, what a legacy that will be. If you know someone who has been touched by brokenness of mind, body, or spirit, please add that name to the comments or speak it aloud now. Page 253.
מי שברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב, שרה רבקה רחל ולאה, הוא יברך וירפא את החולים. אל נא רפא לה, אל נא רפא לה, אל נא רפא לה, אל נא רפא לה. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב, שרה רבקה רחל ולאה, הוא יברך וירפא את החולים.
Our thoughts now move from thoughts of brokenness and healing to thoughts of gratitude, joy, and celebration as we prepare to sing our blessing of gratitude, Shehechianu, on page 344. I hope that you're all able to think of at least one wonderful thing that happened this past week or coming up the next week. If you want to share those in the comments online, we'd love to see them all and share those with each other. And if anyone here in the sanctuary's got something, yell it out. Give us something good that we're celebrating. Any birthdays or anniversaries? What do you got, Maurice? 34th birthday. Oh, man, you look good, man. You're looking good. All right. Anyone else?
I got him beat double plus.
Oh, beat double plus. Happy birthday, Hank. We won't say how old. What do you got, Nora? Well, I'm just happy you're here with us. It's so wonderful to see you and the whole family. Well, for all of these blessings and so many more, we join together in gratitude.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shehecheyanu v'kiyemanu v'higi'anu lazman hazeh Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shehecheyanu v'kiyemanu v'higi'anu lazman
Amen. Last week, our people experienced the revelation at Mount Sinai, where the 10 Commandments were given to the Israelites. As our Torah describes it, it was a moment of awe and majesty, fear and wonder. We were given the most important laws, the framework for living a moral life. But as we all know, there are 613 commandments in the Torah, and this week we start digging in to the other 603 or so. While last week was filled with grandeur and the most important foundational laws, this week's Torah portion is filled with the nitty-gritty of how to actually run a society. It is in this nitty-gritty, though, that we find the sacred. It is this nitty-gritty which informs some of our most crucial opinions as Jews. It is in this nitty-gritty that we find ancient laws expanded upon by the generations of our sages that still speak to us today and offer insight on how we can view this world. One such law that has a special relevance this week raises the issue of unintentional harm inflicted on a pregnant woman. We read in Exodus 21, "When men fight and one of them pushes a pregnant woman and a miscarriage results, but no other damage ensues, the responsible one shall be fined. But if other damage ensues to the pregnant woman, the penalty shall be life for life." In other words, if someone accidentally causes a miscarriage to take place, they're obligated to pay financial reparations only. The case is not treated as manslaughter or murder, which would demand the death penalty in ancient times. The fetus is not considered a person according to Jewish law. This text from our Torah is the basis for our Jewish view of abortion. Judaism permits abortion. One more time, Judaism permits abortion. Using this text as a springboard, the rabbis of the Talmud further elaborated on a person's right to reproductive choice. The sages are clear that life does not begin at conception under Jewish law. The Talmud asserts that a fetus is mere fluid, in their words, before 40 days of gestation. Following that period, the fetus is considered a physical part of the pregnant individual's body, not yet having life of its own independent rights. The fetus is not viewed as separate from the parent's body until the onset of labor and childbirth, traditionally not, according to the sages, until the head has emerged during the birthing process. Many who support restricting access to abortion often cite religious beliefs as their motivation and seek to force those views on others. Different religions believe that human life begins at different stages of development. Science can explain developmental timelines, but philosophic and religious viewpoints largely dominate what exactly defines life or personhood for many individuals in our country. The U.S. Constitution supports the freedom of religion and demands that no one impose a single religious viewpoint on all. The First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution guarantees that no one religion shall be enshrined in law or dictate public policy on any issues, including abortion. Laws and regulations limiting access to abortion are at odds with our nation's founding principles of religious liberty and trample individual moral agency and our rights as Jews. Now, as important as these Jewish proof texts are to showing that life for us does not begin until birth, I believe this is the wrong conversation. The debate as to when life begins is a red herring, because central to the issue of reproductive rights is not when life begins, but rather, do we think women, and really all people, should be able to make decisions about their own bodies? There's actually only one proof text that we need, and it goes all the way back to Genesis. Humanity was created b'tselem Elohim, in God's image. To me, this means that we all have a divine spark inside of us, and to deny someone health care is akin to degrading the divine. Being created b'tselem Elohim, in God's image, means that we believe each person is also imbued with the ability to make their own decisions related to their reproductive health. In light of this concept, this such a core concept of B'Tselem Elohim, I want to take a moment to just mention that although many people focus on women when discussing abortion care, abortion restrictions actually affect anyone capable of becoming pregnant, including women, transgender men, non-binary, intersex, and gender non-conforming people, and others in the LGBTQ community. And unfortunately, members of the LGBT community continue to face legal, medical, and societal discrimination. Every single person, regardless of their gender, sexual orientation, or any other factor, is created B'Tselem Elohim, in God's image, and deserves access to comprehensive and quality health care, including abortion. Now, I'm not looking to create any more anxiety or panic in our already stressful world, but it's important to remain educated about the threats to reproductive rights. As many of you are probably already aware, there's a case before the Supreme Court that could essentially reverse Roe v. Wade and federally protected abortion. In March of 2018, Mississippi sought to ban abortions after 15 weeks. The Jackson's Women's Health Organization, currently the last abortion provider in Mississippi, and other advocates immediately filed a lawsuit to block the legislation. In November of 2019, a district court struck down the 15-week abortion ban. The state of Mississippi then filed an appeal in December of 2019 and lost again, and its petition for another hearing was denied. Then, in June 2020, Mississippi and state health official Thomas Dobbs asked the Supreme Court to take up the case. This case, Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization. The Supreme Court agreed to take the case in May of last year and began hearing oral arguments just last month. It may feel to those of us that support reproductive justice that hope is lost, especially with the current makeup of the Supreme Court. However, we are a people of hope, hatikva, and there is hope if we act. Organizations like the National Council of Jewish Women are calling upon us to urge our lawmakers to support the Women's Health Protection Act, WHPA. Since 2011, state lawmakers have passed nearly 500 abortion bans and restrictions. These oppressive laws mostly harm women, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, those working to make ends meet, members of the LGBTQ+ community, immigrants, young people, those living in rural communities, and people with disabilities. The Women's Health Protection Act will create a new tool for safeguarding access to high-quality care and securing constitutional rights by protecting patients and providers from this dangerous political interference. The bill passed the House in a historic vote on September 24th of last year and now awaits Senate approval. Urge your senators to pass the Women's Health Protection Act. Even though the bill may not pass this year, it is so important to get our lawmakers on the record about supporting access to abortion. As Jews, we believe in the power of compassion to build a just and fair society. A compassionate nation ensures equal access to quality, timely health care for everyone. Equal access to abortion nationwide will allow individuals to achieve their social and economic goals and promote reproductive and moral autonomy and the right to determine our own lives. Last Saturday, January 22nd, marked the 49th anniversary of the U.S. Supreme Court's landmark Roe v. Wade decision. The Roe decision was revolutionary, as it protected a pregnant person's right to have an abortion without excessive government restrictions. Now, we face a grim reality that Roe may not reach its 50th anniversary. This spring, the court will deliver its decision in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization. The case could functionally overturn Roe v. Wade. If this happens, almost half the states in the U.S. are poised to ban abortion entirely. As we celebrate the anniversary of Roe v. Wade, we reflect on the work that still needs to be done to ensure that all people can get the care they need when they need it. Reproductive freedom is a Jewish issue. Abortion is permitted in Jewish law, and access to reproductive health care should be protected by the First Amendment's guarantee that no one religion or religious interpretation will be enshrined in law. We must not remain indifferent or idle while barriers to health care are placed on individuals' health, well-being, autonomy. We are created B'Tselem Elohim, in God's image, and we have an obligation to ensure that each and every member of our society is treated in that way. Shabbat Shalom. We continue in our prayer books on page 282, followed by 287 as we rise for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. Yesh kochavim. There are stars. There are stars up above. So far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. This week, our congregation observes Yartzeit for Edith K. Abrams, Lena Backrack, Elaine Bazewitz, Julian Bears, E. Fred Brecker, Philip Bremen, Benjamin H. Buxbaum, Emmanuel Kaplan, Simon R. Kaplan, Albert Cohen, Glenn Cole, Maurice J. Cooper, Laura De Laurentiis, Mark Dorfman, Eric Dornstrike, Mark Dornstrike, Rona W. Ellis, Joan Els, E. Stephen Emanuel, Rose F. Edelson, Jenny Falcon, Philip Falcon, Manfred J. Flock, Leon S. Foreman, Henrietta Fox, Solomon Samuel Friedenberg, Pearl Friedman, Robert A. Glant, Esther Glass Goldman, Cecilia Cohn Goodman, Bernice Bieberman Gordon, Morris Gross, Flora Kleinman Haas, Caroline Jacobs, Jacob Karp, James Kaufman, Judith Kay, Joseph Kemper, Arnost Kleinzeller, Gertrude Levine, Morris Levinson, Richard Langsdorff Levy, Anthony Z. Lieberman, Jesse Kaplan Lieberman, Ruth Lindauer, Rosa E. Loeb, Kenneth G. Martin, Louis L. Mink, Jill Myers, Isaac D. Milish, Lily Friedman Perlman, Faye Platzker, Martin J. Polikoff, Benjamin Samuel Reich, Isaac M. Rod, Frieden Rosenberg, Daniel Rosenzweig, Benjamin Revell, Alvin E. Samuels, Louise Schwartz, Teresa Seidenbach, Robert Silver, Hattie Lowenberg-Singer, Samuel B. Skolnick, Miriam Spear, Edward Spector, Harvey B. Spiegel, Irving Stein, Walter M. Stepacker, Abraham Stern, Debbie L. Stern, Rose Stuman, Peggy Schwartz, Clara Ullman, William Weiner, Morris A. Walensky, Edward Wolf, David Yamron, Mark Yaskin, Richard J. Zander Jr. And we add the names of those who've been taken from our midst, but not from our hearts, in these most recent days for whom we're observing Shiloshim, the 30 days of mourning. David Dickstein, Bonnie Blumenthal Finkelstein, Henrietta Slapp, Joel Tapnick, Doris R. Winney. If you are observing Yahrzeit or Shiloshim for a loved one whose name was not mentioned, I invite you to write their names in the chat or to speak their names aloud at this time. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing. We turn to page 294 and rise for the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, bi'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayei chon u'vyomei chon, u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'gala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam omei omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shmei dekudusha, brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace and comfort to all who are bereaved among us. And let us say, Amen.
Ose shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen.
We wish you a Shabbat Shalom. If you are new to the community, although I know you all, so yeah, it's wonderful. But I'll tell you, if you're new to us online, I really encourage you. You can also reach out to the wonderful Stephen Scher, who would love to connect with you virtually as well, no matter where you are in the country, and tell you more about our congregation. You can email him sscher, S-H-A-R-E, at roadofshalom.org. You can find the info on the website. We are going to conclude with a really wonderful closing song, which I'll let Cantor Hyman tell us all about.
In the handouts are the words to a song called God's in Me. And so, if we had not mentioned the absence of our Ner Tamid, I still believe, I truly believe that the light burns, whether we saw it there and acknowledged it or not. In the same way that Helen Keller, who wrote these words, understood that the sun shone though she had never seen it, or that colors exist as they have been described. It is based upon our belief, and it is in that sentiment that we believe that the light is burning, because it is our responsibility to bring that light. So therefore, when I say to you that the light is there, I believe it. God is in me like God is in you. And though neither one of us have ever seen that manifestation, we have seen bits of it. I believe that God's in me. 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 The light in my darkness, the voice in my silence. I believe that God's in me. I believe that God's in me. The sun's in the color and fragrance of a flower. I believe that God's in me. I believe that God's in me. The sun's in the color and fragrance of a flower. I believe that God's in me. I believe that God's in me. The sun's in the color and fragrance of a flower. I believe that God's in me. I believe that God's in me. As sun's in the color and fragrance of a flower. The light in my darkness, the voice in my silence. I believe that God's in me. I believe that God's in me. I believe that God's in me. I believe that God's in me.
The first female rabbi, Regina Jonas, gives us beautiful words by which to understand that God is within each of us and that we are obligated to be that light. She writes, "Whoever dedicates their life to others must not only comfort with words, but also through deeds."
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha Ya'er Adonai Panav Eilecha V'chuneka Yisa Adonai Panav Eilecha V'yasem Lecha Shalom. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha Ya'er Adonai panav eilecha v'chuneka Yisa Adonai panav eilecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless us and keep us.
Ya'er Adonai panav eilecha v'chuneka.
May God's light shine upon us and be gracious unto us.
Yisa Adonai panav eilecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May we feel God's presence within us always, and may we find peace. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.